Well, welcome to Thursday's 7 o'clock talk. Trevor Miller here and Nurse Jessica. And tonight we're going to talk about biotransformation. This is also known as detox. And so it's why is detox important, hon?
Tell them.
Throwing her under the bus. Detox is important because it's how we eliminate our metals. Your body will eliminate mercury and it'll eliminate aluminum and all of those things by itself. But if you are undernourished, if you have a poor diet, then you won't actually get this done. And the reason why I say that is there are three three phases, but two phases really to detoxification. And phase one is when your body actually takes the metal or the toxin and activates it. And at that point in time, it becomes a lot more reactive. It's actually a lot more toxic or poisonous at that point in time. And so then you have to move it into phase two. And phase two is when the body takes the reactive component and now makes it hydrophilic. So it'll take it and put it into a water form or a form that can be excreted in water. So then that's how the body gets rid of it. And so if you're not getting good diet, let's say you're undernourished, then phase two is very dependent on having like sulforaphane, glutathione, and things like that, which we get from cruciferous vegetables and things like that. You have to have the sulfur. You have to have the cysteine. You have to have these things that we get from those types of vegetables so that you can run phase two of the detox pathway. And if you're doing a detox, so if you're pretty healthy, let's say you're in your 20s or 30s, and you have done detoxes before and never had issues, your immune system is working the way that it's supposed to, and you're probably nourished enough that you can do this. But if you're starting to get a little age on yourself and you start to detox, what happens to you is it can start to back up in that phase two, and that is called enteropathic recirculation. So the liver really doesn't have the ability to excrete the toxins, and it gets activated and then it gets reabsorbed. So then you become sick. And a lot of people can start to do a detox that are in their 30s, 40s, or 50s that have never had a problem before with doing detoxes or losing weight, and now they start to feel like crap. And so that's when you have to support that process. And so you can't be undernourished. You really can't keep having the exposures. And then you have to go low and slow with the detox. And have you had any adverse reactions with detoxification or running those types of pathways or anything? I don't know that you have.
Not with the ones that not, no, I don't think so.
But we'll have patients all the time that start to lose weight and just feel sluggish and just feel out of sorts. And so this is what I was talking about with that phase one to phase two of the detoxification pathway. This all happens in the liver, and the parent compound gets activated into an intermediate that the body can then make into a water soluble compound, and that's what you will excrete in your feces or urine or even in the sweat. She loves the sauna. I hate the sauna, but it's a great way to detox. So in our next house, we may have a sauna, and I'll just bite the bullet just because it's a good way to detox. If you have an imbalance, the imbalance in detoxification generally comes with the phase two, because phase two is driven primarily by your nutrition. And if you've had crappy nutrition for a long time, well, now you got to start to straighten it up. And this is why it's also important to know that if you're eating if you think you're eating Cheerios and it's doing a good job for you. The problem with Cheerios is they have more glyphosate per serving in them now than vitamin D. And glyphosate is one of the most powerful antibiotics that we know of. We don't have any really prepared foods.
I did have Rice Krispies, but I ate them all.
And we do have rolls tonight, but they
I
were
was
supposed to be
craving
for
them.
Easter.
They were for Easter, and I forgot to take them out of the car.
So they thawed out. But when you look at phase 2 of the detox, this is glucuronidation, sulfation, methylation, glutathione conjugation, amino acid conjugation, and acetylation. All of your different types of toxins go through those different processes. They're all for different things. And that's what we have to have the Brussels sprouts and the microgreens. Your microgreens have huge amounts of sulforaphane and things like that in them.
We're growing our own now. We're trying to.
Yeah, actually, we've done quite well with the garden
and coriander growing.
And so, how do you know if you have a toxic issue? So, what are some signs and symptoms of toxicity, especially in the hospital?
Swelling, headaches,
poor concentration, memory issues,
brain fog,
even
just fatigue in general.
Oh, fatigue's huge for it.
Skin discoloration,
ADHD, autism spectrum, peripheral neuropathy, because mercury, lead, those types of things can attack that. Tremors, autonomic dysfunction, your neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and mood disorders. Which this is why going through a program like ours, which looks at all 7 nodes of the matrix and starts to see what's important, is it assimilation. We were just doing a new patient today on the functional medicine track, and she had assimilation, immune, and hormones. We see those a lot. And as we started to see those, we start to go down the path. Okay, we've got to straighten this out, this out, and this out. And this is the way that we do it. So we can bring somebody through this, hopefully safely, without having too many side effects or too many problems. Some other common signs and symptoms. If you're looking at the mitochondria and metabolic issues, your weight gain, metabolic syndrome, atherosclerosis, and as Jess already said, the fatigue, fibromyalgia is huge. If your mitochondria aren't pumping out a lot of ATP, you can't run the processes that it takes to detoxify, and you also are using all of your energy to try to run those processes, you can't get out of bed. You just feel like crap, to quote Dr. Mark Hyman. Let's see. Genotoxicities, leukopenia. So let's talk about how to avoid toxic exposures. And so they're pretty much common sense things, at least around here they are. And, you try to get organically grown or grow your own. Do the non-GMO. Why do you do non-GMO? Because our dog's having a moment with its dragon. You want organically grown and non-GMO because GMO foods are actually designed to be able to take heavy doses of herbicides and pesticides. And those things...
Baby's got her birthday present.
Yeah, she's tearing up a dragon. Hey,
Mama, see it.
Take it to the other room, child.
Let me have it. No.
So if you have these things on your food,
everybody needs a good dog, just so you know.
Yep, helps your microbiome. So if you are eating these things, if something comes in a box, a barcode on it, in a bag, they're basically going to be genetically modified foods, and these types of foods are things that will have residue. You really need to be spraying these things with some sort of food wash so that that comes off of there, because that'll tax your liver. And if your liver starts to get taxed, well, guess what produces most of your glutathione? Guess what produces most of your energy? And that you can't bog that organ down.
When your fruits have wax on them, you
Yeah.
get that wax off, they taste so much better.
If you want to do an interesting thing, take an apple and a knife and just run it across the skin of that and look at the blade, and you'll see the wax buildup on there. So organically grown, non-GMO, no synthetic dyes or additives. And that's the big thing about boxes, barcodes, and bags. If you look at them, there's always artificial crap in there.
Food color, red color
Yeah.
is the worst. And if your children are having attention deficit disorder like symptoms, they're eliminating out the red food coloring because it's so toxic to them.
Yeah, there's actually a diet called the Feingold diet that used to be used a lot for children with ADHD and toxicity issues, just because of what Jessica said, the blue and red dyes that cause all kinds of neurotoxic issues. Your grass-fed lean meats, wild-caught fish, expeller-pressed unrefined oils, and you basically want expeller-pressed and cold-pressed. Not only filtered water, but RO water. We're big proponents of RO water. We have Culligan reverse osmosis filters, and there's a reason for it, because it just takes out 90% of everything that's in there, including the organopollutants and stuff like that. So what are things to help the body with detoxification? So we want to start to look at safe detox. So if we're looking at the phase 1 nutrients, once again, where do you see these?
All your bees are in cereals,
And
grains.
and what do you do specifically that has tons of bees in them?
Me?
Yeah. What do you do for patients that has tons of bees in it?
Oh, the IVs.
Yes. And so a lot of people who come in that have micronutrient deficiencies, we start to do the IVs with. And when we do the IVs with them, the bees are heavy in the IVs. And
Well,
then
my IVs, they're all based on a B complex. All of them have it. That's the base of it.
and that supports phase 1 of detoxification. So then we add glutathione to it, because that's the granddaddy of them all for detoxification. And then we can do the amino acids.
Yeah, and usually if you're having issues with this and you start doing those IVs, the first one may make you feel like garbage, and then the second one usually you feel like garbage for 3 or 4 days, and then you feel really good. But then you start detoxing yourself, and then the second and third IVs you start really feeling better.
Well, we've refined that a little bit too, because now we'll start to give methyl Bs if somebody has a problem the first time. If they get that headache that lasts longer than 24 to 48 hours, we do methylated B vitamins, and that also helps give a donor to this phase 1, and you can excrete it out. So when we start to look at phase 2, these things, we had a beautiful dinner last night and a beautiful lunch. And what all colors were in our lunch and dinner?
Oh, every color.
Oh, we had
Literally
brown.
every color.
I don't think we had purple. Did we have purple?
Maybe
I guess the onions, purple onions.
Yeah, we did have purple, because I thought there was every color.
So we made, once again, I'm battling issues with thyroid, and the thyroid leads to hyperlipidemia. And so I'm having some issues with hyperlipidemia again. And the thing that helps all of that is getting these bioflavonoids and getting these things in to help A, lower cortisol, B, give me the constituents, the selenium and things that I need for T4 conversion to T3, and to take and limit reverse T3. And then as I do that, then I can start to excrete a lot of stuff out that causes issues. But one of the things I have the SNP, the BCOM SNP, that has problems with doing carotene, beta carotene. So people think about the eyes with that, but beta carotene is very important for detoxification. And so if I'm not getting my oranges and reds and yellows and all of these things in, my system actually will not do that well. So your carotenoids, your vitamin C, which once again, the IVs have large doses of vitamin C, tocopherol, selenium, copper, zinc, and selenium, copper, and zinc are huge for prostate issues. I don't have any of that, but those things are huge for prostate issues.
And most people don't get those because those are stuff you get from the dirt.
Yep.
And everybody's like, well, I eat my vegetables. But if you're eating vegetables from the store, a lot of them are produced hydrophonically. Is that right? And they're grown in water.
So
gotta eat dirt.
Yep. Throw a garden outside, and it's not hard. I mean, I've been trying to grow a garden for 3 years. The first 2 years, the weeds took over.
Well, it looks beautiful at the moment, but there's not a lot in it.
So we have things coming up. But that's where we start to look at what it takes to have that slow and low detox. And honestly, we don't really think a lot about toxicity issues just because we do think that we're so clean. But it's by the very process of trying to be clean that we've actually introduced a lot of toxins. You know, triclosan is a huge microbiome disruptor. It kills the microbiome on the skin. And if you scratch your eye, get your hand after you've done that near your mucous membranes, if you can taste that, then you've actually just done a little minor insult to the microbiome, but you absorb that through the skin.
And people that work in healthcare, they're just getting a double whammy because they're just opening those pores up and then you're putting on those gloves.
Yep. And then the latex.
You're just absorbing all of that PBA and all that stuff.
Blah. So it is very, very important that, especially if you're over the age of 25, to take detox very seriously, because the longer you live, the fatter you get, the more that you pack the body. When it gets backed up, packs these toxins into the fat cells, and you want to bring that stuff out very slowly so that the body can take care of that, and you don't feel ill, and you don't feel like garbage, and you don't get more ill and cause bigger issues. And once you start to bring that out, you definitely got to make sure that you conjugate it and you excrete it. If you are not pooping at least once a day and it be a solid form, then you need to work on that first. Because if you don't work on that first, you're not going to excrete it. And if you don't excrete it, you're in trouble. With that joyous note, we have to get ready, do some more Easter preparation. Happy Easter. And just remember that if you are Christian faith, Jesus died for us and paid for our sins. If you are of some other faith, lots of people are having holidays, Passover's coming up. I respect all of those beliefs and wish you the best in whatever holiday you celebrate at this time.